to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich.
Hi everyone, welcome back to a special report. Today I'm going to share you one of my secret weapons for successful trading. At least it seems to work for me. It's my personal setup and it's using a different composition of indicators. It's using price structure, the MACD, the RSI, Bollinger Bands and TOI's Really indicator. If you're new to trading, just stay with me. I will drill down into my setup step by step. If you're already experienced with trading, you might have recognized the different indicators that I just talked about, except maybe for one, the Really indicator. This is an indicator that my partner Brian Beamish developed at TOI. And if you're interested in getting this indicator to your TradingView setup, make sure to join our Discord at therationalinvestor.com/Discord and send me a nudge in the members lounge or anyone around there to see if you can get the script handed to you for your trading plan. Okay, so for everyone who is new to trading and would like to see what my setup looks like, or everyone who already has their own trading plan and would like to maybe improve it or get some inspiration from it. So let's see if I can bring you guys that. My strategy, I had to give it a name, of course. It's called the Pancake strategy. Pancakes because I like pancakes as a Dutchman, and this is a AI generated image as you can probably see. But it's also pancakes because my setup is built in layers, I would say, and it's kind of like the perfect blend for different insights. And just like an entire stack of pancakes, I hope that after eating through every layer of the pancake steak, you'll get some delicious trading results with this setup. Let's break this setup down. Let's jump right over to the charts. Full disclosure, I did prepare some examples just because it was a little bit easier to then go through this. So let's go to the first one, which is NVIDIA. As you can see, my screen is completely empty, except for some candlesticks and volume bars at the bottom. Now for this setup, like I said, I use different indicators. Let's remove volume. Maybe a side note on what you notice about my screen is that my candlesticks don't have red and green colors. For the candlesticks themselves, I like to kind of like remove the emotion on the candlesticks, and that's why they're black and white. I still use colors on my indicators to make things jump out a little bit more, but on my candles, I like to have this black and white layout. So the first step would be to add a MACD indicator. Oh, here we go. You go to indicators, we search for the MACD. Here it is. We have this one over here now. And for the MACD, I think I kind of use it a little bit different than what most people use the MACD. So most people will use these lines and crosses and hunt for divergences in the MACD itself. Personally, I just like to watch if the MACD histogram is either negative or positive. So I'm not really interested in these lines and these colors. So let's go ahead and change some settings here. So I'm going to uncheck the MACD line, the signal line. I will keep the 0 line. And for the colors, I'm going with orange. As a Dutchman, there's nothing wrong with a little bit orange on your charts. And this gives me a pretty clear reading. And like I said, in my setup, I'm mostly interested in the reading if this is flipping to the positive side or to the negative side, because this tells me something about the trend of the market or what direction we're ranging in. Another component is the RSI, which is the relative strength index, which is a momentum indicator. So let's add that one. We go to indicators again. We search for RSI. Here it is, relative strength index. Let's get added to our chart. Let's move this one pane above, another pane above. There we go, and make some adjustments here. I don't want to make too much adjustments, but I want to play with line thickness. There we go. And the color, make it a little bit orange again. There we go. And do the same for the moving average. We're keeping that yellow, and a bit of a finer line is fine. I'm keeping the length on 14, which is the default setting. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this up, because I'm not really interested in above 17 and below 30 readings, which is like more the classical approach of using this indicator. So I'm going to hide that. Let's see. Oversold, overbought. And And you can see it already has some Bollinger Bands built in lately into TradingView. I'm just going to ignore that for now and do it the way I'm used to doing this, which is going to the indicator, clicking the 3 dots on the right hand side, click Add Indicator, which will add an indicator on top of the RSI. And we're going to search for the Bollinger Bands. Now, usually Bollinger Bands are by default used on top of the candlesticks, and people are interested in seeing if the price moves in, out, or somewhere in between the Bollinger Bands. I like the Bollinger Bands to be on top of my RSI indicator itself. There's one little setting I like to tweak here, which is the length of the Bollinger Bands. I'm going to set this to 50. I'm going to double check that this says indeed RSI, which is the case because we added it on top. I'm going to change the base color to red and make it a little bit thicker. Going to change the upper color to red as well, and going to change the lower color to some funky light blue, I would say, some aqua color. Now we almost have all ingredients. Like I said, I always like to add the really indicator, which is TOI's indicator, I would say. Let's see if we have it here. Here it is. There are multiple versions of that. We have different versions on the website in our library, so make sure to check them out. But I like this one, which is the default TOI really indicator. You can see it also has these highlighted zones, which indicate something about the overbought or oversold state of the market at any time. So we have our chart all tweaked out and set up. Now, the next thing is, I guess, going through some examples and seeing how I use this and what I'm looking for in this indicator. I'm looking for several things, like I said, and I'm going to sum this up. I like structure, I like location, I like momentum. The more reasons you have for a trade, I would say the better it is, but usually if you have a good trade, you can find more reasons. But remember, structure, location, momentum. Structure to frame my trade. So let's say I see a nice structure over here. This is a small little double bottom. It's even more clearly if you look at the line version of the closing prices. And I have a low to work with, which is this one. And I have an entry, which is the point where this W gets confirmed, where this double bottom gets confirmed, which is right here. So that's structure. This would be a valid structure in my playbook. Now, what else do I need? I want the indicators of the MACD to flip positive. As you can see, when this confirmation came in, the MACD wasn't positive. It was reading minus 0.4. Only the next candle, let's see, it's actually 2 candles later, it's reading 0.1. From that on, I can actually enter a trade. Usually, where do we enter a trade when we have structure? On a retest of the original breakout. That's ideally what would happen. So in this case, here we have the confirmation. Here we have the retest of the confirmation. It's not quite accurate, but you guys get the idea. MACD did flip positive here, so we can check that off as well. The really, I like that the really was oversold, but it wasn't. And oversold means this red moving average would be inside the minus 80 reading, which didn't happen. So that's something that I would like to have seen on this setup, and it didn't occur. What did happen is previously we saw a W in the structure. I don't really like this W, and the reason is because we were trending down as much as we did here. But I'm also interested in these crosses. You can see that we have this cross up, cross down, cross up. And this also is a structure in my indicator, basically. So we have some kind of structure, not the ideal structure. I'm going to show you guys some other structures and readings that I like more. But we do have the MACD, and very important, I'm looking for my RSI and Bollinger Bands, and valid things for me to take in account are: 1, the RSI crosses back into the Bollinger Band after it was out, which is the case here. Another one might be that RSI crosses the midsection of my Bollinger Bands, like what happened here, or it crosses outside the Bollinger Bands to the upside. That's also something I can work with. As you can see, these are the different ingredients. not everything aligned up. So in reality, I wouldn't have taken this trade. Although you can see it would have worked perfectly fine. These are the different ingredients of my setup. Let's go to a BTC chart. And this setup, I can use it on lower time frames, but I also use it on higher time frames, like the daily or maybe even the weekly. So let's see the weekly, and then particularly in Bitcoin's case. This is what I like to see the most, and one jumps out of me, I guess because I've been using this setup for some time now. And this chart also adds another ingredient to my Pancake stack that I really would like to highlight, and what makes me tick. So for the trained eye, you might see this formation here: up, down, poof, and away we went. This consolidation of price happened after a downtrend, right? And when price moves very volatile, what this does is that Bollinger Bands are primarily a tool or an indicator to measure volatility. So when the volatility comes down, because the volatility comes out of the price after big moves, you can see that these Bollinger Bands start contracting. And one thing I've noticed is that once Bollinger Bands start contracting, this kind of works like a traditional spring that gets pushed in. So the spring gets pushed down, and then when there's a signal, it gets released, and you get a big move to either the upside or the downside. That's from my experience what's happening. So I also want to prevent that I'm taking any trades in these kind of scenarios where you can see that the Bollinger Bands are very widening, because that basically tells me that there's a lot of room for the price to move in both directions, but not with a very clear breakout. So what do we have here? We have the Bollinger Bands contracting. You can clearly see it here. We have a W in my RSI while it's crossing the upper line. Previously, it already entered here. I always try to look back, I would say a maximum of 20 candles, something like that. But the more quick these events follow upon each other in these indicators, the more perfect it is. And of course, ideally, I would like to have them all occur at the same time. So back to our checklist. Let me remove the spring. We have structure in our price. We have structure in our RSI. We have contracting Bollinger Bands. We have a MACD that has been bullish, or well, not bullish, but flipped positive for some time now. So we are hunting in the right direction, which is the long side, because that's what the MACD is telling me. If it's negative, I'm hunting setups in the short side, on the short side. If it's positive, I'm hunting setups on the long side. If that doesn't match with what I'm looking for, I won't take the trade. And it feels like, well, it not just feels like, it shows from the data that I have that by incorporating this simple filter for me taking trades really improved my my winning ratio. Okay, so we have the MACD, we have the structure here, and we have the RILI, which has been in the oversold territory. And that's indicating that the public was kind of overreacting at this point, and the market was just completely washed out. You can also see we have the structure here, we're crossing back up. So on any of these breakouts, I would be fine taking the setup. Because this is a weekly chart, I would, because that's what I mostly do, wait for everything to check before we even saw this. And then I would go to the lower time frames, in this case daily, and hunt for an entry order on the confirmation of the structure. And then just do a simple 2-to-1, sell half on the 2-to-1 target, and then write the rest out to just move the stop up, and probably get stopped out here. But feel free to trade with that. I'm not looking for this setup to get me in and get me out at the exact top. I'm just taking this setup to take small trades. That can be $50, that can be $1,000, can be $5,000. But this is a setup that has proven to work for me personally. So to sum it all up, I combine all these indicators together. I pay special attention to the contraction and expansion of the Bollinger Bands, because that layer of insight helps me basically to anticipate the volatility that's coming and the significant price moves that are coming. I would say, well, set this up on your chart and see how price interacts with these indicators and how it works for you. And remember, no setup is foolproof. And this is the setup that I settled on, I think now for 3 years, something like that. After I have been playing and tinkering with setups for more than 7 years. these were the ingredients that I'm now most comfortable with trading the crypto or the stock market. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel for more trading tips and strategies. And make sure to join our Discord and drop us a message in the lounge there. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you next video. Happy trading!